So I have been staring at my screen for what feels like 5 hours trying to process everything that is coming up on General Hospital this Wednesday, March 18, and honestly my brain is just totally fried. But you guys know me, I can never just log off and go to sleep when there is this much mess happening in Port Charles. And there is a lot of mess. Like a spectacular amount of mess. I am just gonna start typing and see where this goes because I have a deadline and I really need to vent about these spoilers. So let's just dive right into the deep end with the whole Curtis, Portia, and Jordan situation because I am losing my actual mind over it. And let's start with Stella Henry because of course Stella is right in the middle of everything. At GH, Stella is going to corner Portia Robinson and basically tell her that she needs to snap out of it. Snap out of it. Can you believe her? I mean, Stella is always all up in everyone's business. But she is telling Portia to stop dwelling on Curtis Ashford's reunion with Jordan Ashford. And part of me is like, yes, Stella, please talk some sense into this woman. But another part of me is like, maybe back off a little bit. Portia is going through a lot right now. But Stella is just relentless. She sees Portia spiraling and she just goes right in for the tough love. Honestly, sometimes I wish I had a Stella in my life to just yell at me to snap out of it when I'm obsessing over soap spoilers at 2 a.m. But you get what I mean. Stella is just doing what Stella does best, which is meddling with love. But what is Portia going to do with this advice? Well, the spoilers say Portia is going to make a huge choice on Tuesday's episode. And it looks like that choice is going to carry over into Wednesday. She might actually consider asking Isaiah again and to officially move in with her. Yes, you read that right. Move in. What were they thinking? I mean, who actually believes this is going to end well? Portia is clearly just doing this to prove a point. It might be her way of proving that she is truly moving on from Curtis, but let's be real. If you have to ask a guy to move in just to prove to your ex that you are over him, you are definitely not over him. It's a classic soap opera panic move. Portia is just grasping at straws right now. She wants to build this new life with Isaiah to block out the noise of Curtis and Jordan, but it feels so rushed. Maybe I'm being too harsh on Portia. She has been through the ringer with the whole paternity drama and Curtis's legal threats. But moving Isaiah in, that is just a recipe for disaster. It really is. And then there is the whole Jordan pregnancy situation. You guys, I was so stressed about this. We were all left in the dark on her results after the test she just took. The fans on social media were losing their minds, thinking we were about to get a double daddy storyline for Curtis with both Portia and Jordan pregnant, but it looks like it may have been a false alarm. Thank goodness. Seriously, thank goodness. I don't think my blood pressure could have handled Jordan actually being pregnant right now. In the preview video, Curtis asks her, when you found out, were you disappointed? And that is such a loaded question. Curtis is probably wondering if Jordan was disappointed to learn she wouldn't be having his child. He still has this weird pull to her, but Jordan is probably going to admit she was mostly relieved. And I don't blame her one bit. She is probably relieved, partly because of the health risks, because let's not forget her medical history, and partly because a baby would have made things so incredibly complicated. I mean, can you imagine the absolute chaos if Jordan was having Curtis's baby while he is still dealing with the fallout of Portia's situation? It would be a nightmare. So Jordan dodging this bullet is the best thing for everyone. But it's still going to be this really emotional, heavy conversation between her and Curtis. They have so much history and so much baggage, and this false alarm is just going to force them to look at where they really stand. It's sad, but it's also necessary. So, moving on from that heavy drama, let's talk about the legal eagles of Port Charles. Alexis Davis is going to speak with Ric Lansing, and she is remaining super uneasy about him joining Sonny Corinthos' legal team. And honestly, can you blame her? It's Ric Lansing. The man is a walking red flag. Alexis still sees the massive potential for disaster here, and she is not wrong. But Ric is going to try to convince her that there is nothing to fear. He's going to talk about the old version of him and something he never would have allowed. He is really trying to sell this I'm a changed man narrative. And this is where it gets really juicy, because Ric might actually point out that he didn't rat Alexis out for holding him captive. He is going to use that to push her to see that he's not the man he used to be. I mean, holding someone captive and then using the fact that they didn't snitch as proof of character growth. Only on General Hospital, you guys. Only on General Hospital but it's such a brilliant callback to their messy, twisted history. Alexis is going to have to sit there and realize that maybe, just maybe, Ric has evolved a tiny bit, or maybe he's just manipulating her again. With Ric, you literally never know, and that is what makes him so exhausting but so fun to watch. And Ric is hoping that Elizabeth Baldwin can see this new evolved version of him too. They are going to enjoy another date and talk about what the future holds. A fresh start. But we all know Dante Falconeri is hovering in the background showing interest in Liz. So Ric is trying to lock this down. He wants Liz to believe he is a good guy now. But I just don't know if I buy it. I want to buy it, but I don't. Ric and Liz have so much history, but is he really the right guy for her right now? I guess we will see. But Alexis isn't the only one worried about Ric. Carly is going to have a warning to pass along to Sonny. Carly is going to march right up to Sonny and basically tell him he is an idiot for trusting Ric. Carly might have serious concerns about Sonny trusting Ric because she has her own incredibly negative history with him. Remember the panic room? Yeah, Carly remembers. Carly never forgets. So she is going to give Sonny a piece of her mind, and Sonny is probably going to ignore her because Sonny always thinks he knows best. But Carly is right to warn him. Ric is a wild card. And speaking of Carly, she is also going to have a really deep conversation with Valentin Cassadine. This is the stuff I live for. Valentin is going to apparently ask her questions about her messy relationship with Jack Brennan. In the preview clip, Valentin literally asks her, was that the beginning of something or the end of everything? Wow. Just wow. Valentin always knows exactly how to cut right to the core of an issue. He sees the chemistry between Carly and Brennan. He knows it's messy. He knows Jason hates it. But Valentin is just poking the bear. And Carly is going to have to answer him. Is she actually falling for Brennan, or is it just a dangerous game? I honestly don't even think Carly knows the answer to that right now. She is just flying by the seat of her pants. But back to Sonny and his terrible decisions. Sonny is going to tell Diane Miller that he is letting Ric take over as his criminal defense lawyer. Okay, stop the presses. What? What is Sonny thinking? Diane is going to ask if she is fired, and honestly, she has every right to ask that. Diane has pulled Sonny out of the fire more times than I can count. She is a legal genius. And Sonny is just going to bench her for Ric. Sonny will assure her that he still needs her to handle his other legal areas, but come on, that is such a slap in the face. Diane is a shark. She doesn't want to handle his boring corporate paperwork. She wants to be in the courtroom. I am so mad on Diane's behalf right now. Sonny is making a huge mistake, and I cannot wait for it to blow up in his face. I really can't. And finally, let's talk about the WSB mess. Jack Brennan is going to take a massive gamble with Ross Cullum. Brennan is going to play dumb while putting Cullum through a grilling session. It looks like Brennan will quiz Cullum about the 5 poppies and the project connected to it. But this may be a terrible, terrible idea. Brennan is going to claim he couldn't crack the case and act like he hopes that Cullum can rise to the challenge. He is trying to stroke Cullum's ego to get him to slip up. But Cullum is not an idiot. Unfortunately, Brennan could raise Cullum's suspicions about how much he really knows thanks to this discussion. Cullum is dangerous. We already know he is threatening Britt and Jason. If Cullum realizes Brennan is onto him, he might accelerate his plans. Brennan thinks he is playing 4D chess, but he might just be handing Cullum the match. It's so frustrating to watch because you just want to scream at the screen, "Stop talking, Brennan." But of course he won't. And now everyone is in more danger. Honestly, I am just so tired. This show is putting me through it right now. Between Portia's panic moves, Jordan's false alarm, Ric trying to act like a saint, Sonny disrespecting Diane, and Brennan playing games with a psycho, I just need a nap. But I will be right back here tomorrow to overanalyze every single second of it. Because that's what we do, right? We complain, we vent, and we keep watching. See you guys after the episode.